and gentlemen, and welcome back into another edition of Key Time Sports. It's Key Time coming back to talk about my Game 3 reaction and Game 4 preview of the 2025 NBA Finals between the Oklahoma City Thunder and Indiana Pacers. What I took away from Game 3, and I have it right here on my paper right there, is the Pacers pretty much kept the game close, and in the last few minutes they ended up winning it because the largest lead for both teams were 9 points, and you can see where efficiency wise for the Thunder really wasn't there for them, especially from bench production. Bench production, they had 3 out of the 6 guys that they played had 0 points, and the starters, 3 of those starters, Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, all scored at least 20 points. Lugaz Dort had 12. Cason Wallace had 7. Jalen, and like I said, Isaiah Hartenstein had 4. Alex Caruso had 8. And Isaiah Joe had 6. Now let me get to the Indiana Pacers. Indiana Pacers, one thing about their story for this season, and I got it down right here, is Pacers won Game 3 courtesy of their bench, which had 49 points, and points in the paint, which is 50. So that is 87 of their points came from either the bench or inside the paint. Now, if the Thunder want to win tonight, they can't let the Pacers pack it into the paint like they did in Game 3. And like I've always said, tonight is very critical. Tonight is very critical for the Thunder, because if you go down 3-1, 33 teams have experienced a 3-1 hold in the NBA Finals. Only one team was able to come out of that hole, and I'm not going to bore y'all with what the team is, but y'all already know it's the Cleveland Cavaliers back in 2016. So the Thunder, what they got to do better is, as far as matchups, I don't know what the head coach is doing, Mark Danegal, shuffling the lineups every other game, but that's showing me that you don't have the confidence in the guys that got you here. I mean, when a head coach starts shuffling guys from here to there, you must not have confidence. Now, I always go back to 2015 and what Steve Kerr did. Now, Steve Kerr, Game 3, he put in Iguodala in the starting lineup. And next thing you know, the Warriors, they go on to win the championship. But I'm not comparing that to this, because that Golden State team, they pretty much went to the playoffs, a couple of seasons prior, but they didn't even make it to the Western Conference. See, the Thunder, they've been at the door for the last 2-3 years, and this year they are on the biggest stage in the NBA, and they need to kick in the door and try and win this championship. Because if they don't, then my story ain't gonna change, because I have two graphs of the Pacers win the championship and the Thunder win the championship. So if anything happens, I will be prepared. So as far as the team statistics for Game 3, for the first and the third quarter, first quarter, OKC scored more points, and the third quarter, OKC scored more points. But now, where the Pacers won this game was second quarter. It's 3 things, well, 4, that the Pacers won Game 3 off of. Second quarter points, 40. Fourth quarter points, 32. Then you pencil in the points in the paint, 50, and bench production, 49. That's four things that happened for the Indiana Pacers for them to win game three. OKC, adversity is knocking at the door. That's what adversity is doing now. So, OKC, what they have to do tonight, I'm going to tell you what OKC got to do tonight. OKC has got to stop underestimating themselves. Now I know let's just throw this inexperience factor out the window because both of these teams they don't have championship experience outside of a couple of players. So it really don't matter. But when we get down to what goes on the floor, it's about player matchups. And if Mark Danegal, Thunder coach, is not confident that a guy is going to be able to defend for 25 to 30 minutes, then it's at his liberty to pull that guy out. But you don't want to be sending double teams. Because if you send double teams, that could hurt you. Now, I'm curious to see what the Thunder do tonight. Because the Pacers, they had a kind of team that can blow a team out on their home floor. Now, it almost happened. It almost happened Wednesday night. And I'm going to go back to what I said Monday. Monday, I said that the series, at the time, the series was even when I said this Monday. And then I said that if the Thunder don't win game three, then they have to put all their chips on the table in order to win game four. In order to win game four. So now game four is here. Thunder, I know you don't want to go down 3-1, but one thing I can say, the Pacers offense, they put so much pressure on their opponent. If you don't do something, if you do something right, like defend for the full 24 seconds, Pacers still gonna make you pay. And even if you do it wrong, they still gonna make you pay. So it's damned if you do and damned if you don't. And that's the same thing for the Thunder. Thunder, they run their offense through SGA. And for the Thunder, I believe what they want to do, they want to slow the game down. Because they know if the Pacers play that fast pace like they do, then OKC is gonna lose. Now the Thunder, I keep on hearing people talk about the Thunder saying that they are going to be back here for years and years to come. Does anybody remember the last time when they said that? With Durant, Westbrook, and Harden, after they went to the finals, they said that they would be back in this situation again. And they wasn't back, but they were still a championship contender. But OKC, go ahead and win this chip. You got to win this chip in order for you to be a legitimate threat at coming back. Now, I already know that people say, well, you got SGA, you got all of these players that are under 25. Yes, I understand that. But if you want to be one of those legitimate threats, 3, 4, 5 years from now, still trying to compete for championships, you got to win this one. You just got to. Now, that's all I got to say for game 3. Let me shift on over to game 4, which is tonight. Tonight, the OKC Thunder are a 6.5 point favorite. Same thing like the point spread was in game 3. OKC, you got to get it tonight. You got to. Because if you don't, game 5, it's a possibility that the Pacers will win game 5 on OKC's home floor. Now, one thing that I'm curious about is matchups. I'm certainly curious about that. I want to see what Coach Mark Danegal do and what Rick Carlisle is going to do. Can the Pacers keep up this momentum? Or can the Thunder somehow, some way win game 4 and shift this series back to OKC for a game 5. Obviously, if OKC wins it tonight, there will be at least a game 6, at least. But I'm thinking that this series is gonna go 7 games. I said that at the start of the series after the Pacers won the first game. So now I got OKC winning tonight. And OKC, they need to, as far as defensive wise, they need to step up. X factors for the OKC Thunder need to step up. SGA, he needs to put himself in the game more and just stop relying on jump shots or going to the paint. Sometimes you got to pass the ball to your players, come out with some assists, probably 7, 8 assists. That's a good stat line for SGA. But any way possible tonight, if you OKC Thunder, you want to win this game because I don't see you coming back and winning 3 straight games. It's only happened once in NBA history, and I don't see it happening again in this series. I just don't. So Thunder, go on ahead, take care of business tonight. Pacers, try and keep the momentum going. Thunder, you got to get it tonight. And with that, that is my Game 3 reaction plus Game 4 preview of tonight's NBA Finals between the OKC Thunder and Indiana Pacers. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, click the notification bell to get notified of all of my reaction videos, shows, and other content. We also doing an expansion right here on YouTube. And we also doing an expansion on my other show, Key City Sports. So please like, share, and follow both of my pages, both of my channels, and we have a whole lot more in store. Football season is coming up. OTAs just started this week. So we got a lot, and I do mean a lot of headlines to talk about for the next 2.5 months. And then preseason. Now, preseason is going to start a little bit differently this year. And what I mean by that is July 31st, that's when the Hall of Fame game is. They're starting it a little bit earlier this year, excuse me. They usually start the Hall of Fame game on August 4th, but since the week fell into place, they have it as July 31st. So one last thing, remember, the key is always on time.